everybody's problem with Mercedes Moné? To me, it seems like everybody's pissed off that Mercedes Moné is a better belt collector than Ultimo Dragon. I can already feel the death threats coming my way. Listen, Mr. Dragon is fantastic, okay? He's great. But what is the issue that people have with Mercedes Moné breaking Ultimo Dragon's record? I have been seeing so much discourse online about Mercedes winning the championship. Now, that is not to say that nobody can have any criticism towards her era of being the belt collector. But some of you guys are up in arms about professional wrestling decisions. One argument that I have been seeing online is that she's collecting belts from independent promotions that no one's heard of, that no one cares for. And I see some people saying like, yeah, well, these indie promotions are just giving her the belts because she's a big name. Brother, isn't that professional wrestling? Why would you give your championship, your main championship, to a jobber? There's no disrespect to jobbers, okay? You guys play a very, very important role in professional wrestling, all right? Somebody's got to take the pin, somebody's got to be submitted. And yeah, she's a huge name. In fact, she's a trailblazer, bro. Her and Bianca Belair, the first two black women to main event WrestleMania. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Need I say more? But yeah, these promotions are going to give her the championship, especially if she has this gimmick of she's going around collecting belts. And she's gonna go and have these appearances in these small indie promotions because now those championships are appearing on national television. Winnipeg Pro Wrestling, for example. Has anyone heard of that? I have. Actually, I've known about Winnipeg Pro Wrestling for like a couple years. Not to be that person of like, I knew them before they blew up. But shout out to WPW for real. But there are some people that may not have known that Winnipeg has a wrestling promotion. And now she's won the championship. You're gonna see the championship on national television. And if I was in Winnipeg and I was just a wrestling fan and I was like, well, I didn't know about WPW. Now I'm gonna go check out the shows. That is literally the point.
If you live in Midwest Indiana, no offense to the Indiana people, but if you live there, yeah, you're not going to give a about the Winnipeg Pro Wrestling Women's Championship.
You know what's the funniest thing? Is that people are like, well, the Owen Hart tournament belt doesn't count. Yeah, no one ever said that it did. However, if we put it in the context of her being a belt collector and a heel, do you understand comedy? She is a heel and she's like, I'm a belt collector. Look at this belt that I've collected that I won. And it's not even a real championship. That is hilarious. That is entertainment to me. The fact that she's prancing around with 12 belts and one of them isn't even a real belt. That is some grade A heel shit, dude. I think that's funny. I think that's hilarious.
I also saw another tweet where people were angry that now we're calling her Ultimo Moné. Like, that's genius. I'm sorry, that's such a sick ass name. And people being like, well, she's disrespecting Ultimo Dragon. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, but if Kenny Omega had 12 belts and we started calling him Ultimo Omega, y'all would cream over it. I even saw somebody else say like, well, you never saw Ultimo Dragon brag about this. Brother! In the 90s, there was no social media. You did not have Twitter where Ultimo Dragon is calling all of you guys marks. You did not have an Instagram where Ultimo Dragon is at like a steak dinner counting his money and his earnings with all his championships, bro. There was no social media back then. Of course he wasn't bragging about it. Oh my God.
And listen, it is not to say that no one can't criticize Mercedes Moné. I will say this. When Mercedes first arrived in Stardom, I did not like it. I always go back to that one press conference that she did with Mayu Iwatani and that like inflatable guitar that she did, and she was singing a song. It was giving a WWE segment in the ring that was poorly written. It was kind of giving that, and it still makes me cringe to this day. However, I was critical about that, and I also at the same time tried to be like, well, it is a lot of like promo rust that she has to get rid of. And you can tell that the WWE machine was still inside of her during her Tokyo Dome appearance, and again in all of her Stardom appearances as well.
I don't think some of you guys purely understand the like actual depth of character development and analysis when it comes to professional wrestling. And that is on lacking critical thinking, honestly. A lot of you guys have the criticism of like, well, when is she losing the belts? She's going to lose them, and she's going to have the greatest crash out in professional wrestling history. Think about the way that she won that match against Mina Shirakawa. She was desperate, and she's going to continue to be desperate to keep all of those belts. And once she loses the first one, baby, the spiral we are going to see is going to be phenomenal. And y'all will never let it play out. No, you guys are just going to be like, well, why isn't it happening now? Why isn't it happening here? When is it going to happen? It's like you guys have Amazon brain. You want things to be delivered so quick. Just let it play out, bro. Just let it happen. And guess what? If you don't like it within the time, like if you're just not liking it, that's okay. But it's just the stupid ass criticism that you guys reach in order to like discredit her, when really you're just displaying your bozo mentality of truly not understanding professional wrestling. You don't understand professional wrestling at all. You don't understand good professional wrestling if it bit you in the fucking dick. Anyway, I think that's my mini crash out. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. Maybe it's not so much that I'm crashing out about the dumbass opinions. I'm more so crashing out about the straws that people are reaching for in order to discredit her. That's kind of where I'm at. It's okay if you're not a Mercedes Moné fan. It's okay if you don't like this, but don't make shit up on the internet.